In just a few short days, you're going to be able to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2. There's a lot of information out there about how this process works, and every place is a little bit different. And we want to make sure that we know how to get our pre-orders, but we thought that maybe some other people out there might need this information as well. So we're just going to put it all in one place for everybody and ourselves included. And then we're going to cross our fingers on April 24th and hope it happens.
Yes, it is almost time to finally do this after the start stop that we have been going through for most of April. And the good thing is, the retailers have laid out their plans. Here's what you need to know to pre order a Switch 2. Like you said, everyone is a little bit different. So we want to give you all the information that you need in one place to give yourself the best shot to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, you're right. There's been a little bit of start stop, and the situation was a little murky for a while, but there is confirmation that pre-orders will begin on April 24th in the US, and the price for Nintendo Switch 2 has remained the same at $4.99 for the Mario Kart bundle, and then $4.49 for the standalone system. So that's good. We did not get a pricing increase, and the pre-orders now have a date. So yeah, I think we have some questions that we would like to think about as well as we try to figure out what the best way to go about this process is. And one of the big ones is, how hard is it going to be to get a pre-order?
Yeah, I think it's natural to ask, like, oh gosh, do I need to jump through all these hoops, or can I just,
Yeah,
stroll up or just casually log on to a site and get one? And the fact is, we don't know.
right.
Nintendo has not said a specific quantity that they're going to have, but there are some signs that could lead to optimism. They have been signaling that they know that this is going to be a hot item. They've said they've already started to bring in a lot of stock into the United States, and a lot of the other countries have not had this issue of the pre-orders being delayed. So in a lot of other countries, the pre-orders have already been happening, and from what we can tell, they've been going pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
We haven't been seeing reports of like, oh my gosh, I was there the moment the site went live and I missed out. So I think that's a reason to maybe be a little bit optimistic that Nintendo is planning ahead for this and will have a good amount of stock. But it is always better to be safe than sorry. For a lot of people, this is maybe their first like console launch,
Yeah.
because it's been 8 years
A long time.
since
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch came out. Like, we've been doing this for a long time, and I think it's just always good to hedge your bets and be safe. So if you are able to pre-order in more places than one, like, definitely understand the cancellation policies, but that's always like a good thing to do, because there are always horror stories of, oh, well, I pre-ordered this and then it got canceled at the last second, or, oh, I was ready to do it, but I didn't have my information ready to go and I fumbled it, and oh my gosh, I missed out. Like, it's just best to be safe and really like hit this hard on the 24th when it happens, just to give yourself as many chances as possible to actually get the thing.
Yeah, if you're able to get like multiple pre-orders as well, you can be that friend that everybody loves. Where if your friend was not able to get one, you can just give them one of your pre-orders. We have a friend like
We
this
have that friend.
who will be helping us too. And he loves to do this. This is a fun thing for him. I don't know why, but whatever, no judgment. And he usually gets like multiple pre-orders. When we were both getting our PS5s, you were able to get a pre-order, I was not, and he gave me his extra pre-order. So no, there's really no downside unless there's like a weird cancellation policy in getting multiple pre-orders and hedging your bets and just making sure that you kind of have multiple options just in case things get funky along the way. Yeah, we have some general tips too. We've done this for other console launches, and these are the things that just kind of help you not have like the most stressful experience as soon as a pre-order opens. Just understand and know some information and what to expect, and being prepared can help so much, because you are already sort of in this like high tension situation. You don't want something like not being prepared or not knowing your, credit card information, or your, your account information is not correct. Those little things can help make the process a little bit better. Like, a lot of these retailers have online accounts that you can set up ahead of time. So if you know which retailers that you would like to pre-order from, set up an account ahead of time. Like, you can save all your, information in there. You can save your address, your credit card number ahead of time, and then once the pre-order is open, you can just log into your account, and then when you check out your pre-order, you won't have to do all that stuff. And sometimes the shopping window is on a timer, so it's like, we will hold this purchase for you for like 3 minutes. If you don't have your stuff together in 3 minutes, then like you lose it. So having an account ahead of time and saving all your info ahead of time can be really helpful in that instance.
Yes, midnight on the 24th is not the time to be logging into target.com for the first time. It's like, well, now it's time to make my account. No. And I mean, the fact that you're even watching this video like gives you a leg up, shows that you really want to give yourself an edge. Even like on these sites, like they all have direct links that take you to their Switch 2 page. So again, like going to the homepage of Target, it's like, well, where do I need to click now?
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to find it in search. Like, we'll put all of those links in the description. So for
Right.
all of the big retailers, you can just click and go straight there.
Mm-hmm.
I think also like just know what you're shopping for. And if you want just the Switch 2 system, that's great. If you're getting the Switch 2 and you want to pre-order a bunch of other things, like we recommend doing those in two different transactions, because again, like you said, like there are some retailers that might hold the thing for you while if you have something in the cart, but there's some that might not. So like you really do need to be fast. And it's like, if you just make sure that you get the system. So do that as its own transaction.
Yeah.
And like the other stuff it's lower stress. Like if you're getting like some extra Joy-Con or a game or something, like
they'll have those.
Come back to that after you've done
Yeah.
the first main transaction for the Switch 2. Make sure that you have that, because that's what everybody's going to be racing to do at the same time. And it is kind of like who can do it the fastest, which is really stressful. But again, if you do all these steps in advance, you're giving yourself a leg up over the competition.
The other thing is, if you have like a lot of stuff in your order, so say you have a pre-order cart that has the system, like Joy-Con, the camera, the whatever, the Pro Controller, like if one of those things fail, it can mess up the rest of your order. So I would recommend not doing that, because like somehow, like what if something happens and Target's like, oh no, we don't actually have the camera on launch day, so we're just going to cancel your entire order. You don't want them to have like any kind of confusion. So just having just the system that you want, whether it's the bundle or the standalone, on a standalone order, I think is the best way to do it. Just so you eliminate like these fringe cases of things that could happen to you. The other thing to do is to follow a few people that are like, this is what they do. They give you these alerts. So there is Wario64 and Nintendo on social. They will, share all the latest information. They will share if there's any sort of changes. They will share if, there's any other like wrinkle to this situation that you might need to know about. So definitely do that. A lot of these retailer accounts, like GameStop, for example, not my favorite place to pre-order from, but they do a good job of sharing information on their social channels. And they usually have like a lot of info about, what they're doing, what time things are going to open, where, what you need to do to make sure your account's all set up, like all that stuff. So definitely, do that.
We noticed that Nintendo didn't even post about the new pre-order
Right.
time on there. So if you're thinking like, oh, well, I'm just following Nintendo, I'll get the information from them. No. You should follow as many of these retailers as you can, because they may have updates or news, but definitely also some combination of either Wario64 or Nintendo. Those are people that we know and like.
Yeah.
Like, Wario64 is how I got a PS5 in 2020. Like, he posted the link. I hit it immediately, and I got the PS5 when those were super hard to get. I think Wario64 also has a Discord if you want to get into like his community and talk to other people. Another really good resource is we have somebody in our community who is super active on Reddit, Silver6477, and he's been leading the charge on this big mega pre-order guide as well. So if you're looking for more information beyond what is in this video, like, that's a super good thing that's getting updated on the fly, because there are a few details that, as of the time of us recording this, like there are a few things that still need to get plugged in information wise. So it's always good to stay as current as you can.
So we're going to put all these links, the retailer links, the social channels, Silver 6477's big Reddit pre-order guide in the description so that you can just easily click through it. We can easily click through too, which is nice.
One last thing before we get into the retailer details. If you don't get, for whatever reason, if you don't get the pre-order on the 24th, like, you still have a chance. Like, we've seen this before. Like, they will sometimes get additional allocation, or sometimes they'll do it like, well, we have this much that we're going to do on day one on the 24th, so we're going to do a little bit more to kind of tier it out. Like, there probably will still be other opportunities. They may not give you as much advance warning as they are now for the 24th. They really want a lot of people going in on the 24th to get it. So it might be a little bit trickier. Again, like, don't expect like, oh, I'm going to big brain it and I'm going to get it in one of these later batches. The 24th probably still is your best bet, but also you might have additional opportunities along the way.
Yes, don't be completely
Are
discouraged.
you stressed out yet?
Don't be completely discouraged if you don't get one. I did not get a PS5 during the I did not get a pre-order, so I had to rely on some other means. So there's going to be other ways out there for you to do this, that you will used to have a shot.
All right, let's get into the individual retailers. And let's actually start with Nintendo, because this is an interesting thing. Through their My Nintendo store, for the first time, they're doing a major pre-order initiative for the Switch 2. And this has actually been open since April 2nd. They didn't do a great job of getting the information out about it. But what you could do from April 2nd, which is when they had the Switch 2 Direct, is that you could register your interest to buy a console. And what that means is on May 8th, they will be sending out emails to people who are first in line, who meet their criteria. There's a lot of fine print that you need to read about.
Yeah.
Oh, I've played this many hours on my Nintendo Switch online account, etc. So definitely read all of the fine print. You need to have certain notification, like things turned on in your account to be like receiving promotional emails from them. Make sure you have done all of that. But you do need to pick at the time that you're doing this, either the base Switch 2 system or the Mario Kart World bundle. And again, on May 8th, they will let you know if you are able to buy one. This has obviously been up for a long time, since the 2nd. But again, like, we don't know how many systems Nintendo is going to have for this. So if you haven't done it yet, you might as well just do it. It'll only take you like a minute to do it. And again, if you meet the criteria, it's just an easy thing to do. And again, when we talk about hedging your bets, giving your chances as many like bites at the apple, as they say, it never hurts to do this, even if you haven't done it already. We did it on April 2nd, and we're hopeful about this, but you never know. That you'll find out about these later than all of the other retailers that are doing their things on the 24th.
Yeah. So just know that you won't know if you've even made the selection until May 8th. So still good to do all your, outside of Nintendo retailer pre-orders on the 24th. Just so you have another option. You can always cancel those if Nintendo writes you on May 8th and says that you are, able to pre-order directly through them. I think that is obviously the safest option. If you're pre-ordering directly through Nintendo, there's a smaller chance of something going wrong at launch. So so that's one option to just do if you haven't done so yet. But you're right, there is a lot of fine print. There's a lot of like stuff in the fine print about how you have to have a minimum of 12 months of paid membership. You have to have 50 hours of total gameplay. So just, again, be sure to read all that fine print to make sure you fit the criteria to get this through Nintendo. This is also Nintendo's first time managing something like this. Like we were talking about, in the Switch 1 era, they didn't have the My Nintendo store. So this is their first time sort of acting as like a major retailer and selling things directly through the My Nintendo store. Are they equipped to do this? They've obviously sold other stuff. We saw Alarmo, for example, as a way of them maybe practicing for something like this. But they, this is their first time doing it. So there could be a little bit of a learning curve for Nintendo as well.
It's a wild card for sure, because we just don't know how they're going to do with it. There's another question that I do want to raise for people, which is, I don't know that I would say with 100% certainty. Like, are we sure that you would get it on June 5th if you ordered it from them, knowing how concerned they are with leaks? Like, I think they would lean on the side of being maybe a little bit more cautious in terms of
Hmm.
sending these out versus like, oh my gosh, I got from the My Nintendo store on June 4th. I got the Switch 2 and Mario Kart, and now I'm posting spoilers online, and they're
Ooh.
not going to like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you will or you won't. I'm simply raising the question based on what we know
Yeah.
about Nintendo, which again just reinforces our point of like spread these around as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, GameStop is our next retailer to highlight here. They do these. They know how to do these. They've done this a lot, but they are also not the best, not the most reliable retailer. They have oftentimes canceled people's pre-orders or have delayed people's pre-orders. So, take that with a grain of salt. But they are very good at sharing information, which I appreciate. So they have announced that, obviously the physical pre-orders will open on the 24th. They will have, the online pre-orders will begin on 11 a.m. Eastern on the 24th. So it's a little bit later than some of the other retailers, but just be ready to go at morning of the 24th with all your stuff ready and logged into your account to be able to pre-order from GameStop if that is your first choice.
Yeah, it's a great point that they're happening later than a lot of the other retailers that are happening, closer to midnight. So
Hmm.
again, if you're thinking through your game plan, it's like, well, the night before I can do, my Targets, my Best Buys, and then the next morning, depending on where things stand, I can always go to GameStop.
Yeah.
And this is really the only major retailer that's still doing pre-orders in store. A lot of
Right.
the other ones, like they want you to do it online. So that is an interesting wrinkle if you have a store close to you. If you're going to do that, definitely go a bit early before the store even opens, because a lot of people are banking on this. A lot of people are going to be there. So I do expect a line situation. And something that we learned during some of our outings to try and get Pokemon cards,
Yes, I was just going to bring this up.
there's a lot of GameStops that are inside of malls.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about, you might be lining up outside of a mall to eventually walk into a store. Scout it out in advance. Find out like what door is closest to that store to give you, because who knows, you could be lined up at one door, there could be somebody lined up at another door. When they open the doors, they may all get there first. So it may sound like a ridiculous thing, but just in terms of being prepared, like it helps to really scout it out. This could be like a make or break thing of whether you're in the right place in the line or not.
I really think that you should, if you can, try to find a GameStop that is not in a
Or maybe
mall.
just don't go to that one at
Because
all.
that was a really big issue.
Yeah.
Like people found secret entrances that got them into the locked mall before the mall opened. The security guard of the mall was
They don't
very
care.
they were agents of chaos.
Yeah,
They
they're
did
not
not
gonna help you.
care. They're going to actually make it more difficult for you, if anything, to just be entertained. So if you want to do this in store, like you want to go in store to try to do this, definitely try to scout out a GameStop that's like outside of a mall where you can line up right in front of the door of the GameStop. Make sure that you're there a couple hours early so that you can, like get in a place in line that's not like I'm number 400 and there's no way I'm going to get one of these.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So like you were saying, it's 11 a.m. Eastern for online pre-orders on the 24th. And something that is kind of nice about GameStop is they are already promoting that they're doing a midnight release for the Switch 2.
Nice.
So if you really want to have it in your hand like as soon as possible, that's a good option there. They are, of course, doing trade-ins as well at GameStop, and they've already said what the trade-in value is. So if you are trading in a Switch OLED, the value for that is $175. If you are trading in a standard base Switch, the value for that is $125. And a Switch Lite value is $100. So that's a really nice way to knock off a pretty good chunk of money off of the cost of a Switch 2. And maybe you're saying to yourself also, like, well, wait, I have all my save data, all my game, like, what am I going to do? Am I just going to hand over my Switch that's got all my stuff on it? They do offer, they call it a transfer and trade program, where you can transfer your data before you have to hand it over. They haven't said yet exactly how that is going to work. They've done it before for some other
Yeah, they
systems.
have.
So if you're familiar with that, it probably won't be too different from that. But if you want to be taking advantage of that, that's another thing to either, maybe call your store and ask them like, hey, how are you going to do this? Or really, keep a close eye on their channels to understand how that's going to work, if that's something you think you're going to do.
Right. Okay, Best Buy. Best Buy has announced that they are going to be starting pre-orders. They have not.
So they haven't said. So
this is the confusing one. So this one, they announced a midnight opening event, but they did not announce when pre-orders will begin.
Right. They have not yet said the exact time that the site will go live. So we're recording this on Monday, the 21st. So this is something that, maybe we'll find out more. People are expecting midnight, and there's actually somebody who had a conversation with the Best Buy chatbot
the robots always know,
that said it would be midnight Eastern, but it's best to be sure about that, and they probably will confirm that in the days prior to the 24th. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, this is one that we don't yet have all the information on. A lot of people have said they've had good experiences pre-ordering things through Best Buy. It's not typically where I have done it, but there are a lot of people who do vouch for the Best Buy experience.
Yeah. Target has announced that their pre-orders will open at midnight Eastern.
So again, 24th. When we say midnight Eastern, if you're on the Pacific,
that's 9 p.m.
coast like us, that is our 9 p.m. So all these
it's a reasonable time.
All these times that we're saying are Eastern time. So again, you need to adjust it for your time zone depending on where you are.
I'm glad that I don't have to stay up till midnight.
It's kind of nice for us.
It's kind of nice for us. Sorry, New Yorkers.
For once, it's not 6 a.m.
It's not
Nintendo
6 a.m.
Direct.
Yes, it's actually nice to be fully functional in the brain at 9 p.m. and be able to pre-order something. They said that they will have obviously games and accessories available for pre-order as well. Like we said before, don't do that. Do that in a separate order. But yes, you can bank on a pretty. Yeah, they've put all the information out there, which is great. I like Target. I like pre-ordering through them. I think that I've had pretty good experiences in the past pre-ordering through Target. And I have had pretty good pickup, the pickup process when launch day comes has been very reasonable at a Target. That's how I got my Wii way back when. So yeah, I do like a Target pre-order.
But otherwise, pretty basic information from them. There's not a lot more to go on beyond just the link and the time that this stuff is going to be going live.
It's kind of what you need to know anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Walmart.
Strangely,
we don't really have a Walmart near us here in the San Francisco area.
Yeah, we don't.
So it's not one where I'd say we have a ton of experience, but online they're going to be opening their pre-orders also midnight Eastern on the 24th. And they are they do have an interesting, unique thing for them where they're guaranteeing that you will get your Switch 2 the morning of June 5th if you pre-order with them. So that is a nice guarantee. Again, there are these horror stories with these other retailers where it's well, I pre-ordered it, but it's a week later and I still don't have the thing. At least they're giving you that guarantee. So I do
get
like
mad
that.
at them if they don't do it.
I do like that for them. Yeah, that would be terrible.
That would be so bad. I would be
terrible.
So
mad. That's a worst case scenario.
This is good though. They say get free delivery by 9 a.m. or sooner on June 5th. That's a pretty that's very definitive. And again, it feels good to have them put that out there as a thing that they're committed to. So, really nice. Amazon. No confirmation, obviously, because Nintendo and Amazon are probably still having their little hissy fits, but very likely that there will not be a Switch 2 pre-order available on Amazon, so I wouldn't bank on that.
So if you haven't been following along closely, official Nintendo products are not available currently.
They're having a fight
through Amazon because they're having a disagreement over something, and that's been going on and on. You do occasionally see stuff you can buy Nintendo games, but again, with Amazon these days, you really need to look at the retailer of like who is actually selling this on Amazon.
Yes.
Because a lot of times
Yes.
it's some like, oh, a secondhand thing that like you've never heard of. So who knows? It seems like the Wild West on Amazon these days. You might find somebody listing like a Switch 2, but it's like if you read the fine print, that's probably not what it is. So probably best to just steer clear of
Yeah.
Amazon in
I
this
think
case.
you can get into some bad
You
situations.
can
There's
get
some like
tricked.
nefarious things happening
Exactly.
on Amazon, so I would avoid that. Um, the Nintendo store, physical store. So there is a Nintendo store in New York, obviously, and they're opening one in San Francisco on May 15th. They are not taking pre-orders as of now. The only Nintendo pre-orders is done through the My Nintendo store online, like we mentioned before. But if you live close to those locations or can get to one of those locations, and you were not able to get a pre-order or you didn't want to get a pre-order for some reason, those stores are pretty reliable in terms of restocks. So like at launch and beyond, going to any of those two locations, I think you probably would be able to get one as the stuff restocks. So another option, if you're in the wait and see, like I'll wait and see like what happens and I don't really want to do a pre-order right now, if you're able to be in the vicinity of these two stores, like you probably have a pretty good shot of getting it later on.
Yes, there is and has been somebody already in line at Nintendo New York to get a Switch 2.
Yeah.
And they like that for like PR purposes,
Like
having like, oh
marketing,
my gosh,
yeah.
look how many people are in line at midnight to get
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Switch 2. But yeah,
Fans gather.
as of now, they have not talked about a pre-order. That's something to keep an eye on, whether they will or they won't. Or
Yeah.
you could just go in and ask.
I'm gonna go walk by the San Francisco store to check if there's a person in line there.
The
Just to
store's not
see.
even open yet, but yeah,
Just
sure.
in case, because
Okay.
it'll be open before June 5th.
It will. It
so
will. Yes.
yeah.
So those are the major retailers. Like, yes, there are a couple other ones, but these are the ones that are kind of your best bet. Like, this is where, like, we know from when we worked at Nintendo, this is where Nintendo sends the most of their allocation out. So we do think that these are probably your best bets to actually get one. So
yeah.
The final question though is what is our personal specific plans? What will we be doing on the 24th or the night of the 23rd?
Yeah, so like we said, we both registered interest already for the My Nintendo store, so that's all set. And I think we both meet all the criteria, which is good. So we can just kind of check that box. I would prefer to get a pre-order like through Best Buy or Target if it was up to me, but I'll definitely just be pre-ordering, as many systems as possible through all the different retailers that we mentioned in this video. I mean,
you do need to make a choice though. That is the thing, is on that midnight Eastern.
Yeah.
Though you're probably not going to be able to do them all at once unless you have like, your family or
minions,
like a cadre of minions helping you out. So
I might have a cadre of minions.
Which is if you had to pick one, which one will you be pre-ordering at midnight on the 24th?
Probably Best Buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I am probably going to do Target.
Okay.
Again, I like the Walmart guarantee, but again, like I just don't have a lot of experience buying through them, so I just don't feel, again, like knowing the steps of doing that. Like I don't want to be doing that for the first time. I like Target or probably Best Buy. Another one. It'll be one of those two. I need to look.
Best Buy also has a midnight launch event, so you could probably pick up your pre-order there.
All right, I'm leaning Best Buy now. That's good.
That's what I was thinking too. Then I can get a pre-order hopefully, and then on the night of June 4th or whatever, we could be there at midnight to pick up the
and then I will be going to a GameStop store the morning of the 24th. I think those tend to open around 10 o'clock. I don't know. It may vary from store to store. You just need to go see. I'm thinking at least 2 hours in advance. So that would be 8 a.m. my time. And that's also around the time that the online pre-orders go. So I can do that from my phone whilst I am in the line. Oh. So if I do that, I will have 4 Nintendo, Best Buy the night before, and then 2 different ways through GameStop. You think one of those has got to work, right?
Yeah.
But you never know.
All else fails San Francisco store. We do have that.
Yes, that is the fail safe.
That's the fail safe. We can sleep outside.
Why is it going to be this stressful?
Maybe it won't be.
Maybe it
Maybe it
won't be.
won't be.
Yes.
Because yeah, like we said, we have had so many positive stories. Like our community is very global, and we've heard from so many people from, Europe, from Australia, who have had their pre-orders opened, right after the direct on April 2nd, and they've had good experiences, and they've said that things are, even days later, it had been fine. And they didn't have any trouble, and they, were able to get the systems pre-ordered pretty easily. So I have some positive
Okay.
vibes
Good.
around
Good.
this.
Yeah, but as always, like there's always new information coming out. There probably will be more between the time we record this and the time the pre-orders happen. So
Yeah.
definitely, like if you have any new information, leave that in the comments. Or
Yes,
if you
help
have
help
a
your
tip,
fellow sisters and brothers out with this
yes,
situation.
we all want to do our best to get a pre-order. So leave any other
Yeah.
information you have in the comments for us.
Yes, please do. All right. Good luck, everyone, on getting your Switch 2 pre orders. We'll check back with everybody after the 24th to see how everyone did. Fingers crossed that we all get what we want. We're going to wrap this video up and see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.